Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So for today's video, I thought I would share my top tips for saving money on your food shopping that I've learned over the past year or two. I thought this video might be a good one to film right now as the cost of food shopping just seems to be going up and up. I feel like every month I spend more and more on food shopping. A couple of the tips I've just embedded over the past year or so. A couple of them I have read up about that I think I will start doing going forward. So yeah, here are my top tips for saving you a few pounds on your shopping bill every week. So we do our food shopping weekly. I know some people do it every 2 weeks or even every month, but yeah, this is based off like a weekly food shop. So I think the most important tip that's helped me save money and reduce waste with food shopping is meal planning. Now I know you maybe hear this left, right and centre, but it's so true. If you can just spend 15 minutes one day before you go shopping planning out what you're going to have roughly each night of the week. So I will think maybe for like 6 nights, what am I going to have to eat these nights? And it doesn't necessarily mean I have to have chicken and pasta on Monday, like a curry on Friday. If I don't feel like having that meal on that night, I can just change the days around. So you still have options. It's not like you're restricted to like, this is what you're going to eat every night. It's just having an idea of the meals that you've got for however many nights and the ingredients that you need to buy them. So do a stock check as well before you go out. Look in your fridge and your cupboards, see what you've already got, see what you need to make the meals that you plan to have for the following week, and then just make a shopping list either on your Alexa, on your notes, write it down, whatever's best for you, and just trying to stick to the list as much as possible. It just helps so much. It stops you buying food that you've already got in the house that you forgot that you have. If you go shopping without checking in your cupboards what you already have, you're guaranteed going to buy stuff that you've already got, duplicate up, and then things get wasted and go out of date, or you end up putting loads of things in your freezer and then you end up with loads of food in your freezer that doesn't get eaten and it's there more than 3 to 6 months. So I'm all for freezing food, but only when you know exactly what you've got in your freezer and it's not just got overloaded with stuff. So yeah, meal plan, it'll save you money and it reduces food waste. It also stops you spontaneously needing to buy a dinner, like nipping to your local co-op and spending quite a lot on a dinner, or ordering something off Uber Eats and getting a takeaway, etc. So tip number 2 is that you usually have to get quite low to get the best deals. So in the supermarket, it's purposefully laid out so that all the good things and expensive finest stuff's at eye level. Often the cheapest products will be on the bottom shelf. The packaging often very basic. It might say stuff like value or the basic range or something like that, which kind of makes you feel a bit like you're being a bit cheap on what you're buying, but it's all just advertising tactics. Some of the cheaper things are just as good, if not nicer sometimes, than the branded products. I'm sure there are a few things that are worth paying the extra money for, and there are things I will buy that might be like Tesco's Finest that I do think are a lot nicer. But for example, like McVitie's digestive biscuits have gone so expensive, and the packets have like gone shorter as well, so you get less for your money. And a couple of months ago I tried the Molly's digestive biscuits, couldn't taste the difference. I gave one to my dad and he couldn't taste the difference. And like Jaffa cakes, I actually prefer the Aldi Jaffa cakes to the McVitie's ones. I think they taste nicer. So if you haven't tried them before, maybe just 1 week, buy a couple of cheap products, test them out, maybe play a bit of a game, like blindfold your partner or your kids and give them like a real one and a fake one and see if they can tell the difference when they're blindfolded, because it's so interesting how advertising and packaging makes you buy the more expensive product. So yeah, always look on the lower shelves for the cheaper alternatives. Number 3 is look out for the yellow stickers. So I think the majority of supermarkets have a reduced section. I know Tesco have quite a big reduced section. I mainly shop at Aldi and Tesco, so I can't really speak for any of the other supermarkets. Sometimes I can make the supermarkets on different times, so I don't exactly know when they start like the reduced section, but there always seems to be something there when I go. Sometimes a lot more than others, and I'll always have a browse through it and see what there is. So a lot of the dates will be going out of date that day, but check the packaging, because if you can freeze it, then great. You can just get it home, freeze it, defrost it in a couple of weeks time. If it's genuinely something you like or your kids are going to enjoy, like you can find such bargains in the reduced section and then just stick it in the freezer. But some of those things that you can't freeze, I tend not to buy unless I actually am going to eat it that day. So my 4th tip would be to go meatless, maybe 2 days a week to start with. So I can't admit and say that I do this because I don't very often. Meat is so expensive, and this is something I want to try and implement a bit more myself, because we eat a lot of chicken, a lot of mince, but like a family pack of chicken, like the 650 gram pack in Aldi that we purchased over the weekend, it was like £6.20 or something like that. £6.20. I'm looking at my receipt like, oh my gosh. So that's like a pack of chicken for a family of 4, which would go in one night if you're a family of 4. I will use 2 breasts and then freeze the rest, so it makes us a few more meals. But yeah, like over £6 is just crazy for a family packet of chicken. But obviously you use a lot of chicken with a lot of meals, so sometimes it's just one of those things that I just pay for and it is what it is. But if you can go meatless maybe once or twice a week to start, I think it would save you quite a lot of money, and you can get such good replacements now as well, like some of the beans beans and the sauces that they do can be really nice. Some of like the kidney beans you can get all sorts of beans in different sauces, would be great replacements. For me, even just one night a week, and probably a lot less calories as well. I was reading something during the week that said meat-free Mondays, and I thought, oh, that's quite good. And like over the weekend, you might have eaten a bit more than you usually would. So on a Monday, it'd be like a good day to reset. Meat-free Monday just rolls off the tongue. So maybe I'll try that in the coming weeks. So my fifth tip, if you don't already shop at Aldi or Lidl, and you only go to the larger supermarkets like Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, would be to go and have a look in an Aldi or a Lidl, because a lot of the things are so much cheaper. They have their own branded foods, but honestly just as good. Sometimes they can be made in the same place, and yet like Sainsbury's sells something for £4, you can get the same thing in Aldi in different packaging for like £2. So yeah, anything that tastes just as good or saves me money, I'm all for it. The thing with the bigger supermarkets compared to like Aldi and Lidl, I feel like is a bit of a nicer experience. Tesco's and Sainsbury's are laid out nicer, you know, they have all the aisles of like the clothes, the candles, homeware, notebooks and things, which I love browsing around, but also make you spend more money. So just try and go in with your list and focus on what you need. But yeah, just completely diverted then, but I was gonna say Home Bargains and B&M as well. You can get a lot of your staple products like your pasta sauces, like gravy, branded names at a lot better prices than you would pay in like Tesco, for example. So yeah, don't get ripped off. If you can be bothered, make a couple of trips to the different shops because it is worth it. Number 6, to save you money on your food shopping, is to not buy pre-prepared vegetables and fruit. So I know life is all about making things easier for ourselves, and you know, if you've got quite a lot of disposable income and you're a very busy person, then all these things are amazing. But if you find yourself complaining that you've not got a lot of money, you're struggling to save money, have other nice things, a few of these areas that don't seem that big, you might think spending £2.50 on some diced onions rather than buying a 3-pack of onions for £1, for example, is not a big difference. But if you do that with a lot of things, it really adds up, especially every week. And you know, it only takes a couple of minutes to chop an onion. So anything like that that you can buy pre-prepared in packages for you, and like the, you know, the little fruit salads you can buy, you always pay a premium for them for the convenience. So yeah, if you can, just buy it, wash it and chop it yourself and put it into a few Tupperware. It takes 10 minutes. Number 7 would be to try and bulk buy where possible. So some of the items you can buy in like B&M, for example, can be really big tubs, like the massive ketchups and things like that, and it's not very practical to store in cupboards or have out when you're eating your tea. So I tend to buy the bigger packages of things because they are often better value for money, leave them in the storage cupboard and then refill up a smaller pot that I keep in the fridge or the cupboards every couple of weeks. So yeah, the ketchup is a big one that I do this with. I buy like the really big tub in B&M and then refill a smaller sized one. It's easier to use daily. Another example, if you have a Costco membership, you can buy things like toilet roll, laundries, well, everything you can buy massive there. You've just got to have obviously room to store it, but a couple of things like also the packets of chicken that you can buy in Costco, if you can freeze a lot of them, work out cheaper. So it's just working out if that's beneficial for you. Possibly try and buy in bulk where you can. So number 7, which we started doing over the past couple of weeks because we've been trying to eat a bit healthier, is to not buy chocolate and sweet treats as part of the weekly food shop. And I noticed as well, like chocolate was really putting up the food bill. If you're buying like Cadbury's or Galaxy or like the Mr. Kipling cakes and things like that, if they're not on like the Tesco Club Card offer or they're not Aldi's branded own treats, for example, they're quite expensive. So what we do now instead is at the weekend, we will then go to a local shop and pick a treat that we want to have like that evening or for the next day, rather than buying a couple of things in the supermarket as part of your weekly bill. Also, if you go to a few different shops, like we go to Tesco, Aldi, and then maybe Home Bargains or B&M, you may have forgot what you've bought in the previous shops, getting carried away, and then you end up buying more sweets and chocolate in Home Bargains, and then you just have more stuff than you really need. So just don't buy it, and then make a special trip to your local shop, like on a Friday or Saturday, whenever, which I kind of enjoy. So it's like, oh, going to get myself a treat. And number 8 is to stay organised as much as possible in your kitchen cupboards and your fridge, so you clearly know exactly what you have. If your cupboards are a bit of a mess or you've got loads of things in there and it's hard to see, it just makes it really difficult to meal plan and know exactly what you need. Following on from that as well, I try and eat everything in the house before doing the next shop. So have a look in your fridge, see what you can use up in your cupboards. If you're looking in your cupboards and you think I could make 3 dinners out of that, then do you really need to go to the shops yet? You're just going to be piling more things in on top of what you've already got. As well as food though, I know a lot of people love buying cleaning products, myself being one of them, but this is another sucker for buying way more products than you actually need and having like a whole cupboard full of products that could clean the whole street's house, because all the time a new scent comes out, a new range comes out. So yeah, as well as checking what food you have, if you're buying household items, have a look like if you need washing up liquid, if you need carpet cleaner, if you need a Febreze, if you need air fresheners, kitchen surface cleaners, all these things. If you already have a full one in your house, you don't need to buy another one, even if it's a new scent. There's a Flora bottles that last me ages, and I try and think, no, I'm not buying a new scent until I've finished the one that I have, because it's just a waste of money, and it's also just clutter in the house that is unnecessary. So before buying the extra tea lights, tumble dryer sheets, all the good smelly stuff, do a bit of a stock check as well of that before you go shopping. And my next tip would be to make the meals from scratch instead of buying pre-made ready meals. This also goes for the jars of sauces as well, which I am a sucker for. I buy quite a few jars of sauces, but you can just make your own. You can buy the tomato passata, I've done this a lot of times, buy all your herbs. It's so much cheaper than buying a jar of sauce, but again, it's just that convenience thing, isn't it? But if you are really looking to cut back, then buying like the tomato passata and your herbs is such a cheaper way of doing it, and you get so much more for your money. Again, like pre-made family meals, you know, it can be like a £5 or £6 that you put in the oven, which is fine maybe for the weekend, but if you're doing that a few times a week, if you make the meal from scratch yourself, like a large chili or a large spaghetti, you get so many more portions for your money as well that will often feed you for a few days afterwards. So if you can, I would definitely do that. And it definitely tastes better when you make it yourself. Often when you spend quite a lot of money on something, it doesn't taste as good as when you cook it yourself, I don't think, unless it's a really special one. I also wanted to mention an app that I used a little while ago, and it's called Too Good To Go, and it's basically loads of companies who want to stop food waste, and on the app at the end of the day they will give away a lot of the food for like next to nothing. I know Greggs do this, a lot of supermarkets do this, there's loads of companies that do it. So it might be like 4 o'clock today in Manchester somewhere, you can pick up a Greggs for like 50p, sometimes they're free. So if you're willing to drive to that location and pick it up and you're free at that time, then it's a really good way to get a decent amount of food for next to nothing basically. So Too Good To Go, download the app. I really like the concept of it, but yeah, like I say, you just have to be sort of in the area and available at the time. Oh, and my last tip is to remember to take shopping bags with you. It frustrates me so much when I get there, and if I've forgotten a bag and I've got to buy them for 10 or 15p, and you just end up with so many at home, don't you? So yeah, keep them in your car boot, keep them at the door somewhere that you see them all the time and they're easily accessible to help you remember to take them. So yeah, remember, we need the shopping bags. And that is it for the tips really. I also just wanted to say as well, obviously buying your food shopping and making your lunches every day is a lot better value for money than buying your lunch out every day in places like Costa, Starbucks and like Pret. And you do need to treat yourself every once in a while. We all love a Tesco's finest meal deal. We like shopping at M&S every now and then for a treat. It's just mainly like day-to-day living expenses and how we can, you know, just cut back on those pennies. And that is it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love it if you could give it a big like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more money saving tips and organisation and cleaning and things. And I will see you in my next video on Monday at 7. Thanks guys, bye!